Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me. My name is Bjorn. Today we're going to be looking at a playstyle of something that would be akin to Loki from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I would like to have included a montage here. However, when I did on my first go through, the video got completely blocked, and even when I went to the YouTube editor to take it out, it was still blocked. So there's that. So just going to redo this quickly. Alright, so some of the requirements for playing a Loki-styled character, you're going to need to have multi-classing and feats available to you. So if you don't have that, you can still play it, but it won't be as fun, so to say. The other thing that you're going to require is the Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron. This gives us the Changling class, the Changling race, which I felt would be the best suited for this. So coming with the Changling race, we gain +2 to our Charisma, and we get to choose between a Dex or Intelligence increase. We're going to choose Dexterity. For our Changeling instincts, we're going to go ahead and choose Deception, and we're also going to choose Intimidation. For our Divergent persona, I'm going to go ahead and say that you should probably choose the Alchemist set. This will come into play later on. And as for languages, normally I don't really tell you to pick certain languages. I generally gloss over it. I would recommend that you choose languages from things that you will be most emulating from. Coming over to abilities here, the three main abilities that you're going to want to get up as high as possible. You're going to want to get your Wisdom to an 18 and a Dexterity to an 18. The max that you're going to need for your Charisma is in fact only a 17 for this build, and that'll be it. For our multi-classing requirements, you are going to need a bare minimum of a 13 Dex, a 13 Wisdom, and that's it. It's really not much. Now, if we move over to our background, I felt like the best option for this character would be, of course, the criminal/spy. You can have very interesting backstories, write up whatever. For the skill proficiencies that comes with criminal or spy, we can choose stealth and perception. Now, if you notice here, there's going to be a tool proficiency set to thieves tools. We'll later get to change this once we select our class, so we'll come back to that in just a second. As for your gaming set, pick whatever the fuck, does not matter. Now, when we come over here to our classes, the first class that we're going to dip into is going to be Rogue. Now, for the first level in Rogue, we're going to go ahead into our proficiencies, and we're going to go ahead and invest into Acrobatics, going to invest into Insight, we're going to invest into Persuasion, and Sleight of Hand. For our expertise in Rogue, I like to take Stealth because you're Rogue, and the one for this class I felt best fitting would be Deception. Now with us choosing Rogue at level 1, all of a sudden if we come back over here to our description, we have a new tool proficiency that we can choose from. I like to choose the Forgery set because you can now forge identities for people that you take on the persona of, etc, etc. Now that we have our first level set up, as we go, I'm just going to dump all the levels that we need into whatever class we're investing into. For this character, we're going to be going Rogue 3, Cleric 17. I'll be discussing spells at the very end, giving a list of what I would suggest. So for our Rogue, we're going to bump it up to a level 3, as I was saying, and for our Roguish archetype, we're going to go ahead and choose Arcane Trickster. I felt like this was a very appropriate thing. And once we're closed out with that, we are going to close it off. We're going to go ahead and add another class. Going to go ahead and add Cleric, and now we are going to go ahead and bump the rest of our levels into Cleric. So for our Divine Domain, we are going to choose the Trickery Domain for pretty apparent and obvious reasons. We are supposed to be the god of tricks and mischief. Things that I would like to point out as we go here is that, of course, we have the Blessing of the Trickster. This helps quite a lot in dealing with, say, one of the plate wearers in your group that generally don't pass on those stealth checks. This can help them out quite a bit. Once we reach second level, we get Invoke Duplicity, a very, very fun ability to use and to play out and to roleplay with this. It's amazing. So by the time we reach fourth level, we're going to get our first ASI. We are 7th level at this point, so this is going to be a bit until you get your first feat, but we get our first feat, and we're going to choose Actor. This increases our Charisma by 1. This now bumps our Charisma up to a total of 20 because of our race giving us +2, and this giving us a +1. We started at 17, now we're 20. And the biggest thing with this is, of course, that we have advantage on Charisma Deception and Performance checks when we're trying to pass ourselves off as a different person. this is bread and butter right here for your fucking Changeling. You're gonna be able to fit into anywhere, any situation. Advantage, beautiful, on top of being able to mimic speeches of other people. So at 5th level, we get our first use of Destroy Undead. It's only 1/2 and lower for CR, but it's still pretty amazing to have. An amazing tool to have. Just wipe out hordes and hordes of undead. At 6th level, we get our Channel Divinity, Cloak of Shadows, an amazing tool to use for anyone that uses stealth. You'll be able to come invisible and reposition. At 8th level, we go ahead and get our Divine Strike. This is really good for us because, of course, we haven't been gaining all those sneak attack ups. So right now we only have a 2d6 for our sneak attack, but with this, we'll have an additional 1d8 poison damage that we can use whenever we want. This acts more as a Divine Smite, so you can save this for those critical hits if you happen to get one. And at 14th level, it goes up to a 2d8. So at 8th level, we also get an ability score improvement from our Cleric level. I felt like Lucky was the best option at this point because we don't have that reliable talent that we would get from Rogue level 12. At this level, we're right at level 11, so it's not going to be as good as reliable talent, but it's a good fill-in so that, you know, you don't fuck up completely here and there. So at level 10, we get our Divine Intervention, an amazing ability, very unlikely to work at this level, but who knows. Okay, and when we reach our Cleric level 12, we're going to get a new ASI. I decided to put this into the Feats Sharpshooter. I felt like it would be very fun to just start throwing your daggers more accurately. I would also recommend, while doing this type of playstyle, that you get a Belt of Returning or something similar to that. So I would talk to your DM and say that you have an interest in obtaining that kind of item. And once we reach our Cleric level of 16, we're going to go ahead and put our last feat into Mageslayer. I'll in a later video explain a different path that we could choose, but that's for another time. I felt like this would be most appropriate considering with all these extra attacks that we're going to be doing, giving other casters disadvantage is very, very useful. Alright, and now let's do a quick overview of spells that I would recommend. For Arcane Trickster, you need to invest into Mage Hand. It's pretty fucking obvious. For another cantrip, I would suggest Minor Illusion and Prestidigitation. For some spell choices, this should be different while you're leveling, and, you know, people are intelligent enough to figure it out. But I would suggest Detect Magic, Identify, and Shield for your final rogue choices. These offer a lot of things that the Cleric don't, especially with Shield. You'll be able to deflect a lot of random shit, especially arcane missiles. Now, looking into the wide girth of fucking spells that you're going to get from the Trickery Cleric, I would recommend always having Guidance. This is an absolutely fantastic cantrip. I would invest into Light, especially if you go with the Changeling, because you're blind as shit in the dark. I would recommend going with Mending at a later level, along with Sacred Flame. At earlier levels, I would recommend going with Thaumaturgy, because this allows you to make sounds and mimic things a bit more effectively, maybe. So outside of the cantrips, for the first level spells, I would recommend Bane, Bless, Charm Person, Cure Wounds, Disguise Self, and Sanctuary. All of these are excellent spells to have. Cure Wounds because for yourself and for the party. Bane and Bless, more utility for the party. Charm Person, benefits towards the playstyle of Loki and Disguise Self. If you're in a quick situation where if you can change your appearance, but you need to change your clothes really quickly, and you can't like do that out of frame or whatever, then all of a sudden you can change whatever you need. And of course, Sanctuary, because you want to annoy the living shit out of literally everyone. I should also mention that there is always prepared spells. I believe first level is Disguise Self and Charm Person. Now going into second level, I'd recommend picking up Enhance Ability for yourself and other people. Mirror Image, I believe, is an always prepared, alongside with Pass Without a Trace, and Spiritual Weapon is an amazing ability to have. Now, starting at third level, some of the always prepared spells for you are going to be Blink and Dispel. I'd recommend Bestow Curse, Mass Healing Word, and Sending. Very useful utility of spells here, of course. Now, coming up to our fourth level spells here, we are always going to have our Dimension Door and our Polymorph prepared. I would recommend Divination and Freedom of Movement when you can get it. Now, coming up to our fifth level spells here, we're always going to have our Modify Memory and our Dominate Person ready with us. I would recommend immediately to take Greater Restoration, fantastic spell to have, and Geese.
Gesh.
And Gesh, of course, is an amazing spell to have. Coming up on our 6th level spells, I would recommend taking Heal first. Very amazing ability to have. Grant someone 870 HP, or yourself. You know, great to have. True Seeing is, of course, another good one to have. Because, you know, I feel like this character would be able to see through other people's illusions, and that would only make sense. Word of Recall is a good get the fuck out of danger, get out of dodge. In case you ever need it, go back to like your base of operation. For our 7th level spell, I took Plane Shift and Resurrection. I just kind of assumed at this point maybe you're the only one with Plane Shift. I generally just assume that. The Resurrection for apparent reasons. And then coming up, I skipped the 8th level spells because I didn't feel like there's anything all too, not so much appropriate, but useful towards Loki's tool set. So I just went with Mass Heal at 9th level. Gate is also another good 9th level spell to have, but I felt like Mass Heal is a good default to keep around just in case. Alright, and with that, that is a quick guide on leveling from 1 to 20 with a Loki playstyle type of build. I'm not going to get into too much of how to play this character out. I feel like it is rather apparent. You want to be using illusion magic to distract and gain the upper hand to deceive people. I will make another video more into the theory crafting as to why I created this character if people would like. Mostly, I felt like most of these videos need to be pretty short in order to drag any attention to them. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and take it easy. Bye-bye.